Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand new Wilds of Eldraine draft. We're going to be going through every decision so that you'll know what to do in your own drafts. If you enjoy this sort of thing, let me know in the comments or by hitting the like button. Yeah. Okay, what are we working with here? So the card that immediately jumps out to me is this Woodland Acolyte. Just 3 mana 2/2, enters the battlefield, draw a card. Excellent. Just a really good card. There's also Shrouded Shepherd, which sometimes just massively destroys your opponent, like kills 2 of their creatures. And sorry about that. I had to deal with something in my Twitch chat. I am streaming live, but I got attacked by a bot, so I had to ban it. But yes, this card is great. Also, if you do want to catch the Twitch stream, twitch.tv/NicolaiBolas. But Woodland Acolyte is quite good, and I think will be the pick here. There's also Shrouded Shepherd, which can sometimes like one-sided wrath your opponent. Red Tooth Vanguard is a 2-drop that can come back late for some good value. And then the Restless Cottage is quite good as a card as well. But you have to be black-green specifically, and I don't really want to start with a gold card. I guess you could splash the activation cost of it or something. There's also this removal spell, which is good, but I'd rather start with the Acolyte. You don't even need the adventure part. Like, the adventure part is just pure upside. Now, pick 2. There is a Hopeless Nightmare, a card I really do like. Just always feels like it's a good card to draw and play. Griffin Airy, you kind of need some really specific things for this to be good enough to play, and usually it isn't. You need a lot of foods, I think, and often the decks don't have enough foods to make it worth it. Solitary Sanctuary is really hard to use. Chancellor of Tales, kind of hard to use. If it costs 3, it'd be so much better, obviously. Making things cheaper makes them better. Balluna's Gatekeeper is pretty good, but I think we'd take Hopeless Nightmare. It's a card that I'm just always happy to see in my hand. It's just pretty much good at any point in the game. They almost always have a card there. And cards are really relevant in this format, as they are in most. Now we get a choice between several absurd black cards. Back for Seconds is just absurd. Like, you just get 2 things back, and you don't even get behind on tempo because you just put a 4-drop back into play. Like, absolutely insane. There's also Lord Skitter's Butcher, which is great. Cut In is good. Besotted Knight has been doing some work. Like, the +1/+1 has been pretty reasonable in my experience. This card can do some work, but I think I go Back for Seconds, Skitter's Butcher, which is just a really good 3-drop, and then Cut In. And then maybe even Besotted Knight, honestly. I didn't mind Candy Trail in the deck I played it in either. That card was okay. Prismatic Omen, so this just lets you turn your cards into like any color. Not really a card I'm super interested in. There is Knight of the Sweet's Revenge, which goes well in a food deck. We don't really have foods going on. There's also a Dutiful Griffin. I have a white card. I have some black cards. I have a Hopeless Nightmare, which plays well with the Griffin. I think all signs are pointing to Griffin. There's a couple of black cards in the pack. There's like not any huge signals other than Griffin being pretty good. There's a blue-red gold card, which I don't expect to like switch to blue-red just for that. Happy to get a Griffin. Now we're in a rough spot, or at least an interesting spot, because we don't see a single black card, and it's only pick 5. We do have this Acolyte, which fits into any deck, and Griffin, which fits into pretty much any white deck. So we can just abandon ship. If we were to abandon to something else, blue-white is not a deck I've been impressed with. Green-white I haven't really seen. Maybe it could go well with the Acolyte. There's also Frantic Firebolt as maybe the best card in the pack. And there's a Savior of the Sleeping that I could take just to get another white card. I'm finding it difficult, but blue-red might be open. We're seeing Frantic Firebolt. We just saw the Johan. I think I'll take the Firebolt and maybe shift into blue-red, abandoning my first 4 picks. We're able to navigate back slightly here with a Spellscorn Coven. I know this might not seem like a huge pick, but it was pretty nice to maybe have an off-ramp. Here I see Spellscorn Coven, still just a really good uncommon in the pack. Nice little value play. Great to get back with Back for Seconds. We're seeing a lot of green. Red Tooth Genealogist is excellent. We're in kind of a weird spot. We have 5 really good black-white cards, so we could just be like, okay, we'll get kind of screwed the rest of the draft and just rely on these 5. There's also another Hopeless Nightmare. I think we're just going to play black-white. We could also play black-red, but our white cards are so much better than the 1 red card we have. Oppression, not a great card. Hopeless Nightmare is good, though. And Hopeless Nightmare is especially good in white-black. Wow, we're just going to keep taking Hopeless Nightmares. This card is so good with the Dutiful Griffin. Also so good with like back for seconds. Just sits in play. It's really good if you can get the 3/2 to like bounce the card to your hand, which we'll be looking for very heavily. I think that card's best home is white, black. Johan's Stopgap. But I'm just really happy to get another one of these guys. Let's see if I know anybody in the pool. Or maybe somebody is drafting with me and they're going to watch the video later. Okay, Not Dead After All. Has some good synergy with Woodland Acolyte and the Dutiful Griffin and the Spellsborn Coven, so I think I'm going to take it over the To Unveil Guide. Just a pretty nice piece of synergy when you have an Enters the Battlefield effect to be able to get your guy back. It's a little bit hard to use sometimes, and it can get blown out by removal. But you usually use it when your guy was going to die anyway, so I'll take it over the 4-drop. The sequel to You Are Already Dead. Okay. Griffin Ares, the only card I could potentially use. I'm going to take the Belluna as Gatekeeper, though. I can never really use this card. I'm not going to have any life gain in this deck, I don't think. Definitely not enough to be worth playing it, and I think this card's actually okay. I could also take Merry Bards. Merry Bards. But I'll just give myself the option of blue-black. This card can fit into blue-black pretty nicely. And I think Belluna's Gatekeeper is a good blue card. One of the better ones. Now we get a Sleight of Hand. I don't think Dark Tutelage is playable. Just, it's really, there's so many situations where you just can't really play it. So, getting some late blue cards. Okay, now we get a late green card. Or maybe a black-green deck. Black has been very good for me. I've been playing black a lot just because I like a lot of the cards. And so I've got like 3 Hopeless Nightmares and a Back for Seconds and a Spellsborn Coven. And like, even if black isn't open, that's good enough to be worth playing black for those. White hasn't seemed open. Blue has seemed a little bit more open. I say as I wield the only white card from the pack. This card's going to be good in my deck with 3 Hopeless Nightmares, I think. And I don't love this card. Ooh, and we get a last pick Frostbridge Sentinel. Okay, white-black is on the menu. Why do you do this to me? There's a great red card now. I'm not going to play red. Executive decision. There's not even a good blue card here. This is pretty much a, like, Edgewall Inn or Slumbering Keep Guard pick. I think Edgewall Inn is really good. Just gets your mana better and can buy back a spell in the late game. That's just huge. It can get back so many good cards. I'm taking the Edgewall Inn. I might even wield a Slumbering Keep Guard. And Besotted Knight would be okay in this deck too, I think. But easy Edgewall Inn. This guy is fantastic, though. If you like have a pack one, pick one, just take this guy. He does so much work. He hits like a truck. He's not that hard to enable. In the late game, you just like save up for a couple spells and then hit him for like 7. Okay. I can't imagine a card I would want more than Stockpiling Celebrant in this deck. I have 3 Hopeless Nightmares. There's a 4th one here I'm not going to get back on the wheel. But it's like great with Hopeless Nightmare. Great with my Woodland Acolyte. Great with Spellsborn Coven. Just absolutely key card. I'm really happy to see that. Discerning Financier is okay. But if you're like ahead in lands, it doesn't do as much. And this card's just perfect. This card's also great, Feral Encounter. It's like a kill spell that gets you some value. We'll take all the Celebrants we can get. It's so good with Hopeless Nightmare. Beautiful. I love getting a Hopeful Vigil here. I really hope to wheel that card that like the 1-drop that like scries one and can grow with my number of enchantments. But this card's perfect for my deck. I don't have that many 2-drops, or maybe even any. I have 1. This is a pretty okay 2-drop though. I always think it's an artifact for some reason. But yeah. This deck for sure. I can see the victories coming already. Maybe that's too premature. But yeah, we're going to just play white-black. Our deck is great. We have like 12 cards already, and we're like 3 picks into pack 2. And I'm not like unhappy playing any of these cards except Not Dead After All, which is honestly a fine card to play when you have as many good Enters the Battlefield as I have. Because they go for a kill spell on your guy, and you just like, haha, not dead after all. Okay, now we get a great removal spell. There is a Cursed Courtier, which is an okay card, but I think Cooped Up is just premium removal, and so we will take it accordingly. So that's pretty nice. There's nothing else for us here. This card's neat. I haven't seen it do anything. Blue-white is a deck I don't think I've played against a single time, and I think it's just because it's not very well supported in the format, so it's probably going to be at the bottom of the color pair rankings. I've played against blue-green 1 time. Blue-white, like I think blue-white just has weak cards. Like, the cards just aren't very good. Okay, now we get a nice little 1-drop that can also have utility later on. The Wicked Visitor, honestly, can do some work, but not a card I want to prioritize. I could take Ariet's Whisper. It's always a card I'm afraid of seeing. But I think just getting good 1-drops is always good. I almost always just want to take the cheap cards. And this card can do some good work. 1 mana, 2/1 hits him for a bunch. Damage can add up, especially when you have Hopeless Nightmares. And the fact that you can use the Adventure mode to push through damage can also be pretty good. I don't mind that card either. Now there is a kill spell, or there's just a Besotted Knight. I'm going to take the Besotted Knight. I think this card's going to be pretty good. I have been more impressed with this card than I thought I would be when my opponents play it. It's just been annoying. And I don't like Stroke of Midnight. Sure, you can kill anything, but it's almost the same as like turning a creature into a cursed token. It's better than that because there are creatures with abilities and stuff like that. But I'm just going to take the Besotted Knight. I've got some good early game for it. And now I get an Archon's Glory. Very happy to see that. I just like having the cheap combat trick that I can like sacrifice my Hopeless Nightmare with. This guy's not good except in blue-black. This card's like not a high priority for me. Easy Archon's Glory. We wheeled Hopeless Nightmare. No, we didn't wheel it. This is pick 8. I'm just going to take every Hopeless Nightmare I see. I mean, because I'm not going to draw like 6 of them in a game. And even if I do, like, making them discard a card, because the way I think about it, or at least I'm thinking about it, is Scrying 2 is worth almost as much as a card a lot of the time. And so they discard a card, and then you get to basically draw a card when you Scry 2 with it, and that's just very, very good. It's also bargain fodder for any bargain cards. I'll just always have something sitting in play. It's really good. I really want to wheel that 1-drop, the enchantment guy. I know I took a good card over him. I know I took the Edgewall in, and I think it was correct. But I really, really want to wheel that guy, and I don't think anyone else wants him. Because he's not a very good card. I wheeled the stupid 3-drop Savior of the Sleeping. So please let me wheel the Sleeping guy. Yes! Perfect. This card is so good in my deck. Because it's going to let me scry, so I never like get flooded. And then it's just going to like be an absolute monster in the late game when I have like Hopeless Nightmare sitting around. Adronius is back. Let's go. Welcome back. Adronius is in the Twitch chat. Okay, there's a Vampiric Rites. Sure, I'll just take it so I'm not passing black cards. We have 18 playables because this isn't one. Not Dead for All. After All is probably going to get cut. Cheeky House Mouse might get cut. Cool, we got an Ariet's Whisper. I will be happy to play one of those. I only have 9 creatures. 10 creatures now, but I'm not going to play that one. I'll put it in the no category. Savior's honestly going to be pretty good, I think. Celebrant's great. I'd take any number of those. Pack 3 is going to be interesting. Our deck is fantastic. A second Ariet's Whisper. The second one's dicey. I'll say that much. Oh my gosh, we got a last pick Rowan's Grim Search. Okay, well, I'm going to take this card, I think. This card is fantastic. You kill all of your opponent's stuff sometimes, or even just a couple of their things, and then you can buff your guys. I also kind of like the Hopeful Vigil. It's an enchantment for those synergies. I'm actually tempted to just take this guy. It works with my scrying. I already have so many enchantments, so I think I'm just going to take the card that's really good on its own. Stockpiling Celebrant. I'm probably going to bounce other things with that. Yeah, I'm going to take this guy. This card's not a card I'm super interested in because it can't block. I'm more of a grindy deck. I would love a Dream Thief. I might be able to wheel one of these white cards. Not both, though. I think this is the pick. I've opened a lot of Tangled Colonies. That is a good point. Polluted Bonds. That's not a very good card. I'm going to just take the Stockpiling Celebrant. I think that Witch's Vanity's pretty good, but Celebrant is so great in my deck. Grim Search is looking doubtful to play. Like, this thing just bounces a Hopeless Nightmare. Scries me too, which is, as we said, like drawing a card, especially in the late game when lands are useless. Just super good. The only thing this deck needs is more 2-drops, and I did take a 2-drop this pack. I'm only going to run one Ariet's Whisper. I'll probably end up running the Cheeky House Mouse. I think I'm going to cut the Not Dead After All and the Baronati, even though I know I said I wanted 2-drops. I think Baronati's not very good. Even though I have one other fairy. Cut Not Dead After All, even though it's super good with stockpiling stuff. Maybe I do keep the Not Dead After All. I'll just be conservative with how I use it. because it's so good to get my cards back. Okay, this is an interesting pick. This card's good, but it's more of an aggro card. This is a removal spell, so I really want it. And then this is a grindy element that like helps me just take over the game. I've been more impressed with Fairy Fencing than I thought I would be, though. Just having a kill spell like 5, even a 5-mana -4/-4. The flexibility is really nice. You can use it as a combat trick sometimes. And if you do have a fairy in play, like I have this one fairy, it can do some serious work. And I've been less impressed by the Fell Horseman than I thought I would be. So I'm going to just take the removal spell. That's one of the things my deck lacks. I don't have really removal. I have one removal spell here, and that's kind of it. I would like a Fell Horseman, though. Oh my gosh. Knight of Doves seems like it could do some serious work. I'm going to make it so many birds. That's a huge pickup. I might even wheel this Bridge Guard. Prophetic Prism would also be great. But there's an easy Knight of Doves. Then we get a Grasp of Fate. More removal, just like I said I needed. I can cut the Rowan's Grim Search. We'll think about this mouse. But I think we're going to end up playing the cards that are just standalone good cards because we have enough synergy already. It's just enchantment stuff. Griffin is so good in this deck. But like, I'm just going to cut all the cards that are like individually like not the best. Oh my gosh, we got another Slumbering Keep card. This card is great in our deck. There's an Archon's Glory. We have one of those. I'm so much happier to play this than a cheeky House Mouse, though. And I don't want too many cheap cards because I won't have anything good to do. So I'm going to cut the Mouse. The Not Dead After All. We got a Prism to wheel. There's also, not wheel, but late. There's a Feed the Cauldron. I haven't been impressed by that card, though. It doesn't kill what I care about usually. I can usually block the stuff I'm killing with it. And Prism is really good for bouncing with the Celebrant. Honestly, do I need it, though? I have so many good things to bounce with Celebrant already that are more synergistic. It also helps my mana. What the heck? I got a High Fae Negotiator this late? That's insane. Well, that's perfect for my deck. I wouldn't mind a Fell Horseman. I wouldn't mind a Return Triumphant either. That card's pretty good. But this card's fantastic. Easy pick. And I did wheel the Besotted Knight. Nice. And there's a Savior of the Sleeping. Wow, this deck is perfect. I just have every card I want. Maybe not literally perfect, but it's quite good. Oh, I just died in your arms tonight. Do I even have room for these Saviors of the Sleeping? Wow, last pick, 6 mana, 4/6 flyer that scries you 2 and has ward. That's a crazy last pick. Okay. So we have so many playables in this that we're just going to cut every card that's like marginal or like not necessarily exactly what we want. I think this is a 17 land deck because this land can get back a spell in the late game a lot of the time, I think. Because we have, I guess we only have one thing. We're going to be able to scry a lot though, so I'm not really worried about flooding in the late game. Cut that. Cut that. Cut the cheeky House Mouse. Cut one Ariet's Whisper. Honestly, I'm going to cut both of those. I'm using a lot of discard. I could cut one of those guys. Don't really want to cut a Savior. Gonna cut a Prism. I'm gonna cut a land. And we will run it like this. I'm pretty excited to see how it does. We're gonna make the Hopeless Nightmare the art, and I'll see you folks in the games. Before I get to the games, I want to give a brief shout out to the NicolaiBolas Patreon. If you've been enjoying my videos and would like to support my content directly, then Patreon is the best way to do so. Patreon.com/NicolaiBolas. Patreon is a way for viewers to give back to the content that they enjoy. So if my videos have made your life a little bit brighter, maybe you want some extra booster packs or gems on Magic Arena, and you just enjoy the channel, then Patreon is a way for you to give back and help me continue making high quality content on a consistent basis. You'll also gain access to things like my Wilds of Eldraine tier list, where I grade every single card in the set on an A through F scale, and other things like drafts with me, or even being featured in these credits, because I do want to give a special shout out to the patrons who support at the credits level. It really does mean a lot and helps the channel grow and thrive. Thank you so much to all of my patrons, and without further ado, let's get to the games. Welcome to round 1. Easy keep. Maybe I should only run one Savior of the Sleeping. I'm going to ditch my most expensive card. Immediately punished for not getting rid of Savior of the Sleeping. If they play like a 1 toughness guy, I'm going to be in such good shape here. Opponent's taking some time. That's fine. Oh my gosh, the dream. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. That's such a good rip. That was so good for us. Oh my gosh. Okay. They're missing land drops too. That's hilarious. We're both on low resources. No, they hit their land. It's over. I'm gonna be out of cards by the time I play this. I'm playing Vigilance Tribal as well. Life is good. Yay! I wish I had some bargain cards. I only have like one. I'm just gonna wait until I can do the Celebrant thing all at once. Once the shields are done, I'm going to try to make this a 3-3. The fact that they're missing a land is really good for me because they can't just put counters on this guy. Okay, 3-4, sure. Put it on my token. Vigilance. These guys are going to grow pretty sizable, I think, pretty quickly. At least that's my suspicion. Nice. Okay. Tap her down. Give me a land deck. Give me an L-A-N-D. Land ho. Nope. Okay. Grow my guys. Scry 2. Honestly, I don't want either of those right now. I just want to land. Nice. Just playing that guy. Perfect. So I do want one of these lands, actually. Take out their last cards. I know their spells. Next turn I can bargain this thing. Make some big guys. Oh, they don't have red mana. Neat. I can snipe their last card at some point. I have this 3/3. I have this guy as a tapper. I've got so many options. Gale Fang, sure. I'd rather just get their last card. Oh, that's a pretty good one to have sniped. And I wanted to get my flyer down, just like chipping in before I play this guy. Make sure I get them empty-handed. Stops this guy from growing, stops him from gaining a bunch of life. Okay, I see what you're doing. We'll get to see what they put in their graveyard. So they hit a mountain. Trample, Vigilance. Hold this swamp in case they have a Hopeless Nightmare. I get to scry 2. Grow my guys. Don't want either of those bad boys. Next turn I can tap their 4/4, attack them with everything. Boom! That's how you get the win. The last deck went 5-3, Adronius. Much to my chagrin. Much to my chagrin. I should have done better. It's funny, when I'm recording a video, I play worse, but I also want to be playing my best because it's gonna be, people are gonna see it. And so it's like, you want to like show people good gameplay, stuff they can learn from, not like making I mean, usually the errors I make are pretty slight, and then I just get kind of mad when they get like max punished. I am thinking about what I might want. Do I want a house mouse over something? Probably not. I think the knight's got good synergy here still. The house mouse might be better just as a cheap play, but I kind of like having more mid-rangey plays because that just makes it so that I don't have like too many. I have so many one drops in this deck. I already have a bunch of cheap cards. I'm going to be scrying a lot. I think scrying is such a good mechanic because it's very skill testing on like what your strategy is for the game, on like whether you keep the cards on top. Oh, this is a perfect hand. They're going to have nothing to do. I'm going to play my keep guard, and then I'm going to play doubling Hopeless Nightmare on turn 2. No, I can't play double Hopeless Nightmare. I can only play one. Oh, I punted this then. My gosh. I was literally just talking about how I wanted to play better, and then I just like immediately, instantly screw it up. Because if I played the Swamp Hopeless Nightmare on turn 1, I could have played this guy into another one on turn 2. And used all of my mana. And instead, I did the opposite, and I botched it. Because normally you play your creatures first. Okay, this is actually going to work out. Thanks for the kind words, Adronius. Because now these guys are going to be able to threaten getting +3/+3. Okay. That's what I call synergy right there. I thought it would go the other way. I'm actually going to play the edge ball in this turn. I'm going to look for removal for this Cursed Courtier. Besotted Knight. Yeah, I'll keep that. It's not the best thing, but it's another enchantment at least. I'll use it in a couple turns, make my guy a little bit better. I will trade with the Cursed Courtier if they let me. If they do something like put a monster roll token on it, at least they've done something. They probably have something to do with it, don't they? Okay. Well, they used a combat trick to kill my guy, so that's not the end of the world. Take out their last card. Nice. Good one. They only have one thing in play. Okay. Two to the bottom, okay. Glad I didn't double block. Play this, draw a card. Play this. Make a 3/3 scry 1. I don't really want to land now. This thing has just been scrying me everything I need. I've gotten rid of... I guess I've only put one card on the bottom. That'll be good. Just make my guy a little bit bigger, a little harder to interact with. I can take out their Slumbering Keep Guard next turn. And play my guy. This is the exact sort of nickel and dime game I was hoping to play. Now I just have a couple of 4-mana 3/3s that should be able to take this game over while they have nothing going on. I'm incredibly favored from this position. I think it still draws something really good, but... my Griffin's going to be really hard for them to deal with. I can honestly start attacking with this guy. He hits like a truck. I should have just been attacking with him last couple turns. I don't know what I've been thinking. I haven't been paying attention. This guy can pay 3 mana to get +1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I get a scry in. Don't want to land. Yes! Here we go, down the street, casting spells, happily into platinum. Let's go. That was fun. I really like this deck. This is like maybe my best deck I've drafted in this format. I have a bunch of good synergistic cheap cards, which is pretty much exactly what you want. I will say the Slumbering Keep Guard is like a little bit small ball sometimes in the early turns because he doesn't really attack or block. But it's more so you get card selection in the early turns, and then you get like an actual threat late game that they have to trade a card for. Because card selection is incredibly powerful, and it gives you a lot of skill testing elements as well. Because it lets you really express what your game plan is trying to be. Here I have to mulligan with no planes. Here I can keep. I will ditch the one card that I'm not even close to casting. I'll threaten the double block. Sure. Land. Beautiful. Nice. I'll just hold back the double block again. Armory Mice, sure. I will keep a swamp. I do want one. I figured it was unlikely that they had a kill spell like this one, because having 2 copies of that card in your opener, they probably would have used it already to get an attack in with the elemental, so they probably didn't have it. And so now I get to get my 3/3 going. Tattered Ratter, sure. I like having Archon's Glory too, gives me something good to do. Besotted Knight could be good as well. Block like this. Okay, so they're going to trade with that guy. I can save my guy here. Actually, I can save both guys. No, I can't save both. I'd rather have my big vigilance guy. No, I'm gonna keep this guy around. Gosh, I'm so bad. Okay, those are both good. I'll keep them in that order. Ugh. Do I think Ores of Sacrifice is the best deck in the format? Probably not. Maybe it is. I've had a lot of fun with it. It's the deck I've drafted the most. Let's get that Scry going. Don't want that. I'm in okay shape here. Not the best shape, not the worst shape. Why do they always draw that card when they're empty-handed? My opponents always seem to have that thing. They have drawn... That's a very good card to draw, basically. I can't believe it. I can't believe they just cold drip every card every single time. I'm just dead on board now. We go from a spot where I'm like probably favored to them just like drawing 2 cards and then hitting another mass pump spell. Just like, oh, that's so frustrating because there's nothing I could have done about it, really. It's not like I can play around them top decking it. I just kind of have to hope they didn't top deck a counter, like a combat trick. And like, I can't possibly beat them having +2/+0 for their entire team. Oh man, the 1/1 has not been as that like the 1/1 has been okay. Let's say that. I think maybe playing 1 copy would be more effective. I don't know. I was on a mulligan that game too. Dang it. Okay, this is the exact situation. I get a chance at redemption. Let's go. Okay, so lead with Swamp, play this. Turn 2, I play the Keep Guard on another one. I do learn from my mistakes. When you're mulliganing on the play, it feels so bad to get Hopeless Nightmared. You just like feel like you have no agency over what you're doing in the game. There goes Combat Trick. I did also lose the Combat Trick battle. I could have just like let the blocks happen, not gotten greedy. So that was my fault too. If I honestly actually probably should have just won that game if I just don't do something stupid with my Combat Trick to try and get them. Because they got to use their Kellen's Light Blades, a card that I never play around. So I shouldn't blame luck for that game. I think I should have. I just only have myself to blame. I don't know the exact spot, but I like know that if I mean, they probably could have bargained Kellen's Light Blade, so it probably wouldn't have mattered. Twitch chat is so correct. They said, you are a very good player, but it seems you are in pain every time you lose a game. I am kind of in pain every time I lose a game. I feel horrendous. Absolutely horrific. This may be the first blue-white deck I've played against. I am kind of in pain every time I lose a game. I'm just like so disappointed. It's not a healthy mindset, but that's kind of where I'm at. Especially when I could have won. That's the worst, where it's like, oh, I probably could have won this game. I just have so much trouble bouncing back these days. It's like, I used to be so much better at bouncing back, but now it's just like, oh my gosh. How the heck did I lose? I don't really want to exile anything. Cool, we'll get a scrying on. Put a counter, hit him for extra damage. Are they going to Kellen's Lightblade me again? Oh my gosh, why do I do this to myself? No. This is why best of 3 is like I think I get infinitely less tilted playing best of 3 because when I get blown out by a card, I'm like, okay, I can play around that game too. Okay, I like spells. I don't really like this guy right now, though. This guy's fine. Because I'll be able to use the tapping ability. Next turn, I'm going to play this guy and bargain this. Man, when you're already down on cards and that's how your turn has to go, it's pretty brutal. I'm just waiting for, hopefully not having the counter spell here. If they have it, I'm still fine, though. Those are good cards. High-Fey Negotiator is sick. He's holding a contract. I will say, from my loss, I did learn that the +2/+0 is pretty dang annoying against red-white. That card was brutal. Coral Smith, more of an aggro card. Flying Siege Rhino is pretty good. Siege Rhino costs 4. Can you imagine? 4-mana version of that, even if it's on the ground. It was a 4/5 too. It was a 4-mana 4/5 that drained for 3 when it came into play. Siege Rhino was nuts. I've been pretty impressed by the Savior. Keep Guard's been getting some work done. Not sure what's taking so long now. Savior even has Vigilance. Well, we've won this game. That's good. Hopefully it just concedes for them. That's life. That's what I'm just thinking right now. Sometimes your opponent... Sometimes when you go, your opponent, it doesn't show up to play. I considered attacking with this just because I don't think they're allowed to block if they're not here. Just because it would be a fun little test experiment. When you threw my love aside, I know. Hopelessly addicted to you. Hopelessly addicted to you. Where did I put my carrots? What's up, Doc? Barnaby B. Jones have been defeated. Do I want to make any changes to the deck? Three and one. If anyone has any tips that they use to stay mentally strong when they lose a close game, I'm happy to hear them. I kind of want to try this card. What cards have been bad? Keep Guard having one copy in play has felt good. These have felt pretty solid too. I feel like I don't need more discard. I kind of want to do this thing. This thing seems such a sick blowout. Such a good blowout. They try to kill your guy and you just bring it back and get to like buy back one of your hopeless nightmares. It's like a 1-mana like 2-for-1. This is a keep, but it's not a happy keep. They mulligan. I'm one enchantment away. And honestly, I think this hand is pretty dang good if once I draw a single enchantment. Because I'll get to like customize my draw so much. I'll deploy out my synergy pieces. I even have a stockpiler. I'm like one hopeless nightmare and I have 4 of them away from this hand being amazing. If they make my team get -1/-1, though, I will be sad. I just can't fathom the depths of my sadness. I hope they have Rat out. I hope they just have the -1/-1 to max punish me for attacking here with my Vigilance creature. Tilt! I just need to draw 1 hopeless nightmare. Come on, dealer. Sing us a song, you're the dealer man. Sing us a song tonight. I'm gonna get punished for playing this land, aren't I? They have a hopeless nightmare. Oh my gosh, what have I done? Why did I play that land? This guy's a 3-for-1. Nice. That worked out for me. I know they have all spells because they've been missing land drops. I don't think my hand can beat 5 spells. There we go. That was a key draw. Now I have a shot. I'm not gonna throw away my shot. I'm not throwing away my shot. And I know they have all spells, which means that they can now draw lands, and I'll be happy. Get wrecked, Shrouded Shepherd. I also have value. Oh my gosh. This is insanity. No attacks. This card is not very good, I don't think. It's like a 3-mana 2/4. I guess if you have a lot of auras, it does more. I wasn't reading the second part, really. So that makes this thing into like a drain 1 every turn. Glass Casket, sure. They get rid of that guy. Arguably my worst creature. Though, they don't really know that. Sure. And now if this thing dies, I can get it back. Jeez. Tough luck, buddy. I went from like very far behind to like very far ahead very, very quickly. Well, not very far ahead, but like in the game. We both have board states now. That's an easy trade for me to make. Looks like they needed to bargain something maybe, but they already have a Vigil to bargain away. But because I have this edge wall in, I'm pretty happy to make that trade. And I can't make it on my terms because I have a 2/4. Oh my gosh. This is a weird spot. This attack might be bad, but I don't know how they're going to play around all the stuff I have going on here. I can sack both Hopeless Nightmares to buff my Savior of the Sleeping. Perfect. Yeah, like... And in this first scry, I can afford to be very aggressive. So I don't really want this. I don't really want this. Even though they're both spells. So I'm willing to give up my Celebrant in order to kill their 2 creatures. And keep my guy around. And then I'll use Grasp of Fate. Yeah. They're just going to play anything they draw from here on out. Okay. hoping for the best. Yes. Now it's a 2-turn clock even with their food. It makes sense to not play under removal there, because if they had it, they would have killed my guy and attacked me. Just a very simple heuristic. Like, what would your opponent have done if they drew the spell you were most afraid of? And did they have a reason not to use it? Well, the reason not to use it is to try and blow me out. The reason to use it is to hit me for 2. And damage tends to be a relevant swinging factor. Oh, they're short on white mana. That's... Oh, never mind, they aren't. Well, this is game. They're going to have to double jump here. Got the win. I don't know why I can't just be positive even win or lose. I think it's an interesting thinking problem. I do a lot of thinking in my free time. And I wonder about these things. Like, why do I get frustrated when I'm playing these games when they're just for fun, you know? But I think it's something to do with, like, wanting to be good at something. And when you want to be good at something, you get more frustrated with your mistakes. It's like every mistake is like, oh, you're not actually good at this thing. But it's also like, oh, there's still stuff to work on. This is a keep. If I hit a land, it's really good. That's usually good enough for me. Yeah, also a lot of the losses that I do have are the ones that are like not much I could have done, which feel especially bad. That is true. I'll play this so I can get some scrying going. Hit my lands. I'll get rid of the combat trick for now, even though I kind of wish I didn't have to. I just want to hit my 5th land to play this on curve. And buff this guy simultaneously. I could have tried to kill the Mocking Sprite. I kind of like using the Royal Roll token to make a 4/3, because the 4/3 is like a real threat. And then I can go for Hopeless Nightmare on whatever they play this turn if they play a real card. And this way, if they do kill the Stockpiling Celebrant, they probably have to spend their whole turn. Okay, they don't have to spend their whole turn. I'll get rid of their last card. Play this. No attacks. I'll trade these things off. Okay. I certainly don't mind trading a 3/3 for a 3/1 here. Reading The Inner Game of Tennis by Tim Galloway. I actually have wanted to read that book for a while. Oh my gosh, this is disgusting. Well, first we're going to put this card on top. And then we're going to win easily. The Inner Game of Tennis. Because the thing is normally, I like in actual situations, I tend to have pretty good mental. It's mostly just when I'm playing Magic and like, I don't know. Like in terms of life, my mental is like unreal. It feels like sometimes. I know that's probably just bragging, but I feel like my mental's really good in real life. Yeah, this card's just busted. I can't believe I didn't consider it. Just, oh, I can't believe I almost didn't take it over whatever the card I was thinking about it for. There's nowhere to hide when you feel your love inside. I know what you say. I'm hopelessly addicted to you. Da, 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 da. Can I get back? There's some good stuff. I'm just gonna. It might seem spewy, but this actually like drastically increases my clock. I think if I get rid of the Baronauti, because it just lets me attack with all of my guys, and I get to scry. Candy grapple, sure. And now I get to attack at all. I wouldn't have been able to attack. Knight of Doves. Sure, I'll keep that guy. Better than nothing. I probably should have thought about that, because if I pump this guy, they go to 3, and then I bring back a guy and I win. But here I threaten lethal. But I threatened lethal either way. Huh. The Inner Game of Tennis. I love tennis, too. Tennis is awesome. I've played a lot of tennis. I like watching tennis. Ooh, Medvedev beat Alcaraz. Cool. I went to the US Open and I actually got to watch Medvedev play. And so that's pretty cool. I've watched Alcaraz play before too, but it was only him practicing. But yeah, that's cool. Djokovic Medvedev. Rematch from a couple years ago. That'll be exciting. That will be exciting. Tennis is so cool. Well, this is a good hand. Any hand that has a Hopeless Nightmare is very good. Hopeless Nightmare is a wildly good card. I'm just going to take a chance to develop slowly. And the reason I'm doing this is because if I draw my guy, my 1-drop, I'm going to want to scry with it. Because my hand really wants some scry, because I don't need any more lands. Now I am going to Hopeless Nightmare, because I might want to go this guy into this thing both modes. And then bargain. Also getting my tap land down was good. They ditched a Ferocious Werefox. That's generally a pretty good card, so maybe they have another one. So they didn't have a 2-drop. There's no way I can block this. It's so bad for me if they have another one of those guys. And they had one, which makes me think they probably have a better card that fills the same role. Okay, they played this post-combat, so they must have a combat trick of some kind. Okay. Play this. They had double strike for him. Okay. So they don't have another combat trick. They've already used both of them. Maybe I'm supposed to use that chance to block. They play it post-combat. That means they must have a pretty good card. What do they got? I see. So they can hit me for 5. I can block, or I can eat one of their guys. The fact that I didn't get to kill their spear guard is kind of annoying. I think there's a 4 or 5 is tempting. I can take damage from him, block here, take 9. Next turn I'll gain some life back, but they'll have a 4. Yeah, I think that's my plan. They keep their card. Is it a deal too? No, it's not. Okay. I think the guard is good enough because I just want to draw a spell this coming turn. And I'm draining them for a decent amount of damage. And they have something on... They didn't play this. What the heck do they have? They have untap +1/+3. Neither of those is good enough. I'm not going to play around untap +1/+3. It doesn't make any sense to keep that. What the heck do they have? Why wouldn't they just play this guy? Feels like you basically can't lose if you play this guy. Do they forget? Do they misclick? What card is it? Dragon Mantle? I feel like that doesn't do anything. Gosh darn it. Wait, they already had a token on it. Oh my gosh, they choked. They already had a token.
Oh my gosh. I thought I was dead too. Oh my gosh. Could they have won that somehow? If they like put the thing on their big trample on this guy already had it. Oh my gosh, that is absurd. What a crazy game where that's the deciding factor. My gosh, we're on the precipice of victory. We're a precipice of achieving something that few have dreamed of. We are one win away from the trophy. My first trophy of the set. I mean, I had some runs in early access where I went undefeated, or I went like 4-1 in my 5 rounds. That probably could have trophied, but my first official 7-win run. It has been elusive for me. It's going to be very satisfying if we can get there here. Yes! We get to do the play pattern we discussed again. Keep the Nightmare into Keep Guard Nightmare. That's honestly such a good, like, even when all of the information is available, if you rush, you just make mistakes. And when I say you, I mean myself. Okay, they get rid of a Sugar Maw. That is not a good sign. What's in their hand if that's what they're getting rid of? Okay, I'm going to just play a Keep Guard and then a Hopeless Nightmare so I can scry to find a land here. They do want lands. There's a lot of spells that I would not be interested in. Cannot use that right now. It would be nice to make my guy somewhat relevant, but he's going to be relevant later on. He's going to be like a 5/5 threat. They've ditched a couple 4-drops. I'll keep that on top. When I do draw a land, that'll be pretty good. They have 4 spells here, essentially. No. I have a lot of good draws here. Another one of these would be pretty okay. I have a couple more 2-drops, and a land would be great. So most of my spells are pretty good here. Beautiful. Oh! Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. This is like one of the best cards in our deck. This card's fantastic. I got one really late today. Oh my gosh, this card's good too. This card is absolutely stellar. Take it early. Just gives you so much card selection at such a low cost. I will block. Because that means they can no longer use their ranger unless they play this guy, which means they might need to use a treasure. I think I'm going to sack one of my enchantments. I don't know what they're doing.
Maybe they have some removal spell, or they didn't read my card. It's probably they didn't read it. Yep. Hard to imagine that was the scenario they wanted to happen. Wow, my opponent outplayed the heck out of me there. Yeah. I tried to chip in for some cheeky damage. They made me look like a fool. If you don't get caught out every once in a while, it means you're not playing close enough to the edge. Potentially. Because chipping every point of damage matters in Magic. Itch the stab wound. Easy block. I'm not sure how I feel about this card. I also realized I haven't said anything out loud in like a minute. Okay, I feel like I can't lose with that card on top. Just playing my cards kind of level 1. I didn't mind double blocking there because my opponent, like, I have this 4/4 that I'm hitting them with. And my cards are pretty recursive, and I've got a lot of scrying on the field. Rats and mice working together as one. Okay. I get to give something +1/+1. Doesn't matter. And we got the trophy. Just have to double check. Yep, I can attack with everything. Yes! Oh, at long last, a victory. One might say well-deserved. One might say not deserved. But it doesn't matter if you deserve it. It only matters if you get it. My gosh, I'm so happy. I know I don't look it. I'm so pleased. Pleased as punch. I had a feeling after I drafted that deck that it was going to go places. There were just so much cheap cards. When I have a lot of cheap cards in my deck and a lot of like interactions and stuff, then I feel pretty confident I can do well if the cards are all high card quality, because it's just a lot of more decision making if you have a bunch of cheap cards. But it was, yeah, I'm very happy. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, in the comment section down below, leave hashtag nickel and dime to let me know you made it all the way to the end of the video, because we were just playing our little cards and slowly grinding our opponents out with a bunch of 1-drops. Or you could leave hashtag 1-drop win, because this was really a victory for the 1-drops. I hope you enjoyed the video. I know I get negative at times, but I also get positive at times. I'm kind of a phew. What are those things called? Those things that go like God. I can't even. They're like thermometers. They can go really hot. They can go really cold. You know. But I try to be somewhere positive most of the time. I mostly just get frustrated when I lose, which is kind of a lot of people. But I try to be like, I try to not be a downer. So I'm working on it. I work on it. Everyone has things to work on. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe for more, comment with your questions, thoughts, and feedback. And you can support my content on Patreon if you want to gain access to my tier list. And there's also just a bunch of free stuff on the Patreon as well if you want to check that out. You can join in all the fun live. But yeah, that's going to do it for this one. First trophy of the set. I'm really happy. And I'll talk to you next time.